There is one aspect of grief that is very confusing for a lot of us, and it's that we are changed as a result of our loss. And if you're feeling that way right now, you're not alone. So let's walk together and I'll share why this powerful feeling of change emerges and how you can find some meaning and purpose for carrying on in the absence of your loved one. Hey friend, welcome back to Grief Questions Answered. I'm Eric, and it's my goal with these videos to share everything that I've learned about how to survive, find support in the loneliness of grief, and how to intentionally get back up and live beyond the loss of a loved one. If this grief tip doesn't help you today, I am confident it can and will help you at some point in the future, so be sure to save this video to watch later on. And today's question comes from Janice, who asked me, why does the loss of a spouse change you as a person? And so Janice, this is such a good question. It's a very deep question too. And when I think about my experience of losing my daughter Zoe, it seemed that there were many things that changed in my life too, not only around me, but also for me as a person. And so I appreciate your question on so many levels. See, shortly after I lost Zoe, I noticed changes in some relationships with family and friends. In fact, some of those changes were good in that some relationships actually got strengthened in the process. But it also changed some other ways as well, in that some relationships left me feeling empty and searching for reasons why they didn't show up. And for the record, I've actually chosen to focus on the relationships that have been strengthened, and some incredible new relationships have actually formed since that time, almost 10 years ago now. But what's most confusing for us is that we've changed as a person. And it's this internal feeling of change that can be really scary, especially early on in this process. And why is that? Because we absolutely had no control over that change, and it's affected every aspect of our lives, including our identity and our purpose for carrying on after our loss. You see, for years and well before Zoe died, it was always me, her older sister Narminda, and we always did things together. We traveled together, we went to the beach together, we went out to events together and ate out together. You name it, it was just us three. And no matter who I met through Zoe, she was always so proud to introduce me as her dad. Even when she was hospitalized, she would introduce me to her new friends, the staff and the doctors, and she would say, "This is my dad." And it's one of those things that I've absolutely loved about Zoe as a person. And when she was growing up, that I believed that my sole purpose was to raise her and to be her dad, as well as a stepdad to her older sister and brother. And when she died, everything changed. And for me, I felt like I lost that purpose right away. So I asked myself, why am I even here now? You may be asking yourself that too. And it took me a while, but it was her friends who pushed me to think differently about that particular why. And so without realizing it, I became Zoe's dad for them. Every day, I was helping them navigate their loss, and at the same time, I was trying to navigate my own. And that guidance of her friends and my family to fight for our better days has ultimately led me to this point today where I'm helping others to get up and live beyond the loss of their loved ones too. Now, don't get me wrong. I would absolutely want to have Zoe here, and I miss her terribly. And I've actually grappled with the fantasy that I want her back, and I won't move on until I get that. But friends, since I cannot change what happened, I can change what happens next for my life, and so can you. And so the reason I share all of that with you, Janice, is that yes, we are changed after our loss, but we have a tremendous opportunity to continue to live our life after we emerge from our deep grief. We have the opportunity to connect with a new purpose or a meaning for carrying on and honoring our loved ones at the same time. And by the way, that doesn't have to be the work that I'm doing, and it doesn't have to be in the service of others. In fact, at the very beginning, and it's really important to note this, that it needs to be in the service of yourself before any other decisions can be made. And so why is that? Because we have to put on our own oxygen mask first so that we can survive this unthinkable change in our lives. And we also have to find ways to adapt to this new unfair normal and this change within us so that we can accept that nothing can be changed about what did happen, but we can find ways to change what happens next within us, because it is up to us alone to make that change and to accept that change. And there's an author, his name is Viktor Frankle, and in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, he says, between the stimulus and the response, there is a space. And in that space lies our freedom and power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and our freedom. And so what I take from that quote is that after our loss, and although it wasn't our choice to lose them, it is our choice what we do with our loss despite that change within us. And so I chose to find a way to get back up and live beyond the loss of Zoe, despite that change of her not being here any longer. And you can too. And so what I'm offering here, Janice, is that you choose to navigate your grief on your own timeline, that there is an acceptance of this change inside of you, and that you don't judge it in any way, but rather invite it to show you the next step in front of you, one at a time. And also that you don't put any pressure on yourself to have it all figured out all at once in terms of where you'll be in 6 months or 6 years from now, but rather give yourself the permission to feel what you need to feel and when you need to feel it for now, so that you can find your way through and out of this deep grief and explore what's next for your life later on. There is no wrong way to reconnect with life after our loss. Yes, we are changed, and yes, it sucks. But over time, we can embrace that change as we carry on. And so a new meaning will emerge for your life, and it will always include your loved one who is no longer here. It will always be a part of your life. I carry Zoe with me every day, and I love that. And my purpose for living now actually makes me feel closer to her than ever before, and I'm sure that will happen for you too. And so, as always, I hope this helps. Do you have a question about grief that I can answer for you? Let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't done so yet, click that subscribe button down below, as this is the best way to get notified of new videos just like this and to show support for our channel. And so let's walk together, and I'll see you in next week's video.